All right, guys, welcome back to another Lawyered Up. I am your host, Jared Moore. We got a lot to cover tonight, so let's jump in. Once again, we will be trying to take your questions from the chat. I am not a lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice or, we'll do what we can do. To start off with, we've got an update in the Stroble case. Let's pop it up on the screen. I want to give a shout out to Alicia Stroble herself. She emailed this to me, so I really appreciate that, Alicia, and it always helps us out when people who are involved in the cases can get us the information before the official channels. So what's the update? Here we have an order granting a motion for oral argument. Those oral arguments are supposed to commence at 10 a.m. on January 17th, 2024 at the Oklahoma Supreme Court. So that's where we are with that. We're going to see some oral arguments come out of there. I don't think that the Oklahoma Supreme Court, I haven't seen them stream the audio for this, but we might be able to get in there and record some of it. I don't know. Also, they issued an order scheduling the Attorney General for the state of the Oklahoma can intervene by filing an entry of appearance no later than November 1st. This is just saying if the Attorney General wants to get into this and represent the state or whatever they want to do, they need to do it by November 1st, and then they will get into that oral arguments. All right, so what's next? Let's see. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is codification. So one of the things we do here a lot, guys, is we go to the Mvskoke Creek Nation Supreme Court's website and we click the little thing up at the top. Let me bring this up for you guys. We click the little thing for code up here and we come and read the code. And as you can see, you have all the titles and then you have all of the amendments that have been passed since 2012. Now you may be asking yourself, well, who cares? We've seen this 100 times, Jared. Yes, but here's the problem. So the code, the laws of the Creek Nation dictate who is supposed to codify this code. And what that means is this is the official published code that's up to date, that has what the laws are as we see them now, right? And that used to be, long ago, was the National Council's job. So the Creek Nation Code said the National Council was supposed to publish the code annotated, which is the codified code. Now the reason you need to have codified code is because if you're going to have departments doing anything that has anything to do with Creek Nation law, like Children and Family Services, Light Horse, Tax Commission, all of those guys, they've got to have somewhere to go to pull the up-to-date code. And they need to get it from a source that is dictated by law to publish it or codify it. Otherwise, it could be incorrect and they wouldn't have any recourse. So the Supreme Court is not required by MCN code to publish the code. And they're not required to keep this up to date. I might have mentioned it in previous Lawyered Up. I wanted to go through it in a little bit more depth to show. So you may be asking yourself, well, who is supposed to codify the code? So as supplementary information, there's a link in this video, the description of this video, to an interview we did in 2016 with then MCN AG Kevin Dellinger. And it's queued up right to the part where he's going to talk about this legislation that I'm going to pull up right now. So if we go down, let me bring that up for you guys. If we go down here to executive branch and we look at 16-027 right here, we will see that this is a law of Mvskoke Creek Nation. Let me make it a little bigger. A law of Mvskoke Creek Nation amending MCNCA Title 16, subsection 3-106, entitled Office of the Attorney General. And it says, the duties of the Attorney General as Chief Law Officer of Mvskoke Creek Nation shall be codification of the nation's laws in accordance with the duties established in Title 31-104 section of this code. So what this legislation did, which was passed in, let's see, where is it? February of 2016, it transferred the responsibilities for the codification of the code over from the National Council to the AG's office, right? And so ever since then, and if you watch that video that we had, that I've got in the link there, you'll see that AG Dellinger at the time is saying we're going to have a website, it's going to be searchable and all of this great stuff. We're going to take care of this problem, because even then there was a problem with this. I'm going to take you guys in a time machine a little bit further back. So pre-2010, and if you come out to the nation or you deal with a department out here, you may have seen the blue code books called the blue books. Those books, those were the codified code that was published by the district court when my dad was the judge out there, Judge Patrick Moore. So when he was the judge out there, he was taking all the code and codifying it and printing out in these bound books. That are, the last edition that he did before he left was the blue edition, right? Now, even then, he wasn't the person who code said was supposed to do that. He was just doing that so that lawyers who came into his court could tell what the laws were in order to practice. They had some type of reference material. All right. So that responsibility got transferred from the National Council over to the AG's office, and the AG at the time said they were going to do something. I'm going to pop a new deal in here and show you. Here's the problem that we have. The Creek Supreme Court is not required to keep this code up to date. Now, do they do a good job? Pretty good, but they're not required to keep it accurate. And if we go to, let's see here, Mvskoke Creek Nation Attorney General, and go to the website page for the Attorney General, you'll see here that the Attorney General has on their page, well, they used to have, let's see if they still do. Let me make it a little smaller because I can't navigate. Pages, here we go. Codes. But when you click this link, right, it takes you to this page and it says go to creeksupremecourt.com. So they're not, the Attorney General's office is still not publishing the codified code. Now, I've been told off the record that we are going to see legislation coming up soon that's going to address this issue, but I haven't seen it yet, and it's a bit of a problem. I just wanted to point that out to you guys. So anytime we're talking about code, there has to be a caveat inserted there to say it's what's on the Supreme Court's website, and since they're not required by law to be the ones that publish it, it can be inaccurate and you just have to deal with it, right? It's not legal reference. You can just read stuff that's been passed. Okay, so we've cleared all that up. When that legislation comes through, I will let you guys know if I get a hold of it, and we'll take a look at it. There is going to need to be legislation and funding associated with this, because it's going to take a lot of people to go back through. If we look at the code again, and we see here what's on the Supreme Court's website, you can see like Title I agriculture. There's been a law that's amended Title I. So if you're trying to look up something, right, you click on, like, for instance, this Title V ceremonial grounds, there's going to be code, there's going to be stuff listed in there that has been amended by these other laws. So you have to go through all of these and read all of that to have an understanding of what the code is now, and that doesn't work. And plus, you can't search this, so you can't search for specific things in the code when it's set up like this. Anyway, okay, what's next? Freedmen update. Okay, so if you guys, did I close too many? We can close this, we can close this, we can close this. If you guys haven't been living under a rock, the district court issued its Freedmen decision. I wanted to show you guys some interesting stuff that maybe you didn't catch, because there's been an update here to the Supreme Court filing a stay. I wanted to kind of show you guys some of the stuff that's happening here. We're going to make a Mvskoke Media YouTube Ouroboros here. I'm going to eat my own tail because we're going to go down here. So we posted the video, and that's what's on here. Let me pop it up. We posted the video, which was the Freedmen win in district court, and then we started getting comments. One of the comments we got was by Blackout 4203. And Blackout 4203 said, this morning the MCN Supreme Court issued an order granting a stay in the decision of Grayson and Kennedy versus the Citizenship Board of the Mvskoke Creek Nation. This stay essentially holds off on enforcement of this ruling until such a time as the MCN Supreme Court has a chance to review and rule on the appeal before them. We'll continue to provide updates when they are available. Okay, so, and I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, that's the wrong button. Let me make it a little bigger. So you can see here, as soon as I saw this comment, I ran right over to the Supreme Court to try to get a copy of this stay. Now, I knew before I went over there, because I've dealt with Supreme Court before, that I probably wasn't going to get it. And the reason is, and this is what the court clerk said to me when I went over there, is the Supreme Court of the Creek Nation has a closed records policy where they won't issue records, to me at least, until after they've issued a decision in the case. Okay, so that includes a stay. So whoever Blackout 4203 is, I would be careful about when you're posting on there. If you're an employee or something that works for the Supreme Court or whatever, just watch out, because they don't give out records ahead of time. And as you can see here, so when I went over to the Supreme Court, I asked for the records. They said they aren't going to give me any records. They said I could contact the parties and try to get the records. Now, just as a side note there, that's not the best way to do things. Really, the court ought to be giving out all records, like all of the briefs and everything, the amicus briefs and everything that are filed in these cases. That's how the United States Supreme Court does it, and almost every other Supreme Court I've ever heard of. But it's their prerogative. They can do whatever they want. Having people have to go get copies from the parties is not so good, because the parties can say, well, I don't have this or I don't have that, and they can kind of control what information comes out. So, and skew people's perspectives of things. At any rate, so I came back here immediately, and I made a post that's on the thing here. You can see Mvskoke Media went to the physical offices of the MCN Supreme Court and was told by the court clerk that the Supreme Court has a closed records policy and does not provide copies of the documents. The clerk would not confirm or deny the issuance of a stay in this case. Okay, so I put that on there just so everybody knew we were trying to get the stay. At the same time, I emailed the AG's office, or I called the AG's office, and I let them know what had happened. I said I went to the Supreme Court. They said I needed to talk to you guys to get a copy of the stay. The AG, and I want to say thank you to AG Weisner again. I really appreciate this. She sent me a personal email with a copy of the stay, and that is what is in this Google Drive link here. And up here where we have the update. So, this is the stay. You can see it was filed on October 2nd. Now, let's take a look at this. What this is saying is it goes through the case, what happened, and then it orders that an instant appeal be docketed. It is further ordered that there is a motion to stay of enforcement, and it's granted. And then it also says that the appellate's brief has to be filed no later than 30 days from the date of this order, which is October 2nd. So it sets up a deadline there for people to get all of their stuff turned in. All right. Let's see here. Where are we at? That, I believe, is the free... Oh, I did want to mention one more thing about the Freedmen case. When we posted the video, I got a lot of calls from people on both sides of the issue freaking out. Some people who were on the Freedmen side saying everybody should go down and file for citizenship, and people who don't want the Freedmen in the tribe start freaking out, going like, oh no, what are we going to do? In fact, some of you guys were saying the Supreme Court needs to issue a stay on this. Now, some of this is going to be my opinion. This is just my opinion. I think the stay is unnecessary, and I'll tell you why. There is a link to a video in the description of this stream where my dad, Judge Patrick Moore, who heard Ron Graham's case in 2003, which is very similar to this, he gives a lowdown of the progress of that case and what happened in that case, right? So you can watch that video and see, because the reason I mention that is because we've already been here, guys, and the district court is the first battle. It's not the last battle. This goes on. In fact, this stay, right? Let's say the district court made its decision, and somebody who could trace their lineage to the Freedmen rules ran over to citizenship and put their application in. They've still got to go through all of the administrative processes that everybody else does, and they would receive their denials. And just like in the Grayson case and the Ron Graham's case, they would have to go to those hearings with the citizenship board and present their evidence and all that stuff. There's a huge administrative process. It can take up to like 2-3 years to go through all of that stuff, right? So it's not like you're just going to instantly get citizenship based on that. People's application for citizenship are still going to be reviewed no matter what happens with any court case. They're still going to be reviewed. Also, so that's why I say that the stay is kind of, I mean, it's fine. People can apply for a stay. You can get a stay. It's kind of irrelevant though, because like the case, we know the case is going to get heard at the Supreme Court. The previous case when Mr. Graham got heard at the Supreme Court, and then it went on up to the upper levels and so on. So not new territory. And I guess the message I'm trying to get across to everybody on both sides of the issue is let's chill out, guys. It's okay. If you want to see the Freedmen get into the tribe, this is the first battle. You got to steel yourself. This is a long road. It's going to be we still got a long way to go with this, okay? It's definitely a win, but you got still more work to be done. If you don't want to see the Freedmen into the tribe, there's a long road ahead. This is not like, this is just the first step. Okay, so that's where we're at with that, and that's just my opinion, guys. But the Supreme Court has issued a stay, and we've got these guidelines. Okay, moving on. Council gathering funding. Let's see. Oh, okay. So there has been, I closed one of my tabs that I need, but I'll get to it in a second. The Hooper decision, right? We got a Hooper update. What is the Hooper update? Well, first, I wanted to point out that this is the BF&J committee agenda for October 12th, 2023. And you can get this off of the National Council's website. I've showed you guys where it is before. There's a link to it in the description of this video. You can see here we got a tribal resolution authorizing the chief to execute a legal services contract between Mvskoke Creek Nation. And if you click through there, you'll see, what does it say? Criminal civil injunctive relief against the city of Tulsa for persecuting Indians. We got that in there. So they're authorizing chief to sign a contract with that law firm. We've got, let me pop it up for you guys. Sorry about that. We've got a law of Mvskoke Creek Nation authorizing a lawsuit to be filed in federal court in the name of the Mvskoke Creek Nation seeking declaratory and injunctive I should say relief against the city of Tulsa exercising unlawful jurisdiction. That's $500,000. So the tribe also has, let's see here. And then down here, there's also a bill that is increasing compensation for district court judges. And it mentions too Hooper. Down here, Hooper v. City of Tulsa. So what they're saying is we're going to have to handle a lot more of these municipal cases, so we need to pay our judges more, get more judges. Okay. Now, let me bring up, where is that? Just a second. I closed a thing that this is what I wanted to see. Okay. Sorry about that. Now, why do I mention this? Obviously, they're getting ready to file a civil lawsuit against the city of Tulsa to try to stop them from prosecuting citizens, right? That's good. Here's the problem with it, though. I guess it's not a problem. They're getting out ahead of the ball. But where is the Hooper case at, right? So we had the United States Supreme Court remand this decision back to the lower court and told them you've got to reconsider it, but you can't consider the Curtis Act involved, right? So this is the next step in the Hooper case. This is a status conference is scheduled for November 9th, 2023 at 10 a.m. via Zoom. Now, the reason I bring that up and I show that to you guys, let me pop it up on screen, is because, so the case is still being heard, is, I guess, the nutshell of what I'm saying. If you're going to, and this is just my opinion, if you're going to file a civil lawsuit, right, let's wait till the case gets done. The reason that the city of Tulsa is continuing to file these tickets and everything is because there hasn't been a decision in this lower court yet. If you get a decision out of this where you win, you can stop them. And they could file for an injunction, absolutely 100%. It's just to be clear, an injunction is just going to say the city of Tulsa has to stop doing that until this case is decided. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But that's the next step in the Hooper case. And I pulled this off Pacer, is November 9th. There's going to be a status hearing, which is not a big deal at all. And it's definitely not going to be the decision in the case. But it is going to be the first step in the process for all the parties resubmitting arguments that don't include the Curtis Act. And if you read the previous arguments filed on the case, that's basically City of Tulsa's entire argument is the Curtis Act. So we'll see what the City of Tulsa is going to say now. What are they going to say as their claim to jurisdiction under? I don't know. The Oklahoma Charter? Who knows? Let me take a close look at the chat here. TY Pro, thank you for saying that's autocorrect. I've never had to kick anybody out of chat, but we can't go down that road, so let's not do that, and I appreciate you saying that. Supreme Court overrule more, they will likely overrule Mauser. Yes, that's probably what's going to happen. It's an undue burden to make the citizenship office waste time on applications that will never be granted. They gotta hear what they hear. If somebody files it, they gotta hear it. Stay was good order, keep citizen on functional, legitimate applicants. How many do they get? Not very many. I mean, they're not doing thousands of people every week, right? Can the city of Tulsa be sued in civil court by individuals for illegal jurisdiction damages? Once we get a decision in this, well, you can file a civil lawsuit on anything, right? You can file a civil lawsuit over anything. You make it all up. Doesn't mean you're going to win, though. If you're asking me, could you win if you filed that case? If I was going to do it, I would wait till after we had this decision in, right? Because then it's a slam dunk. You go in, you file your civil lawsuit, you go before the judge, you go, look, judge, the district court or whatever court this ends up in, if it ends up at the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court said they don't have jurisdiction, so file my paperwork, I get paid. You'd have to show damages. You would have to show your damages, right? Maybe you got put in jail or maybe you had to pay a fine. It's important to remember that with Hooper's case, Hooper paid the fine. He got fined $200 or something, and he paid it, and then he challenged it, right? So on and on. Anybody know the current balance of sorry, that was a Freudian slip. City of Tulsa. Anybody know the current balance of the City of Tulsa's sinking fund? I do not know that. Thought the City of Tulsa's stay was denied in Hooper. Well, that I don't know about that. Can a civil lawsuit be filed in federal or tribal court? You can file a civil lawsuit wherever you want to. you're going to hire a lawyer and you could say, I want to file a civil lawsuit. He's going to say, pay me some money, and you're going to go file it. And then if it's no good, the judge is going to throw it out of court and you're out of the money, right? Like, that's the trade-off. You can file whatever you want to. It's like, are you going to win? And when you go talk to your lawyer, that's why lawyers are supposed to tell you the truth and not lie to their clients and do the best thing for their best thing for their clients, is because they could easily tell you, oh yeah, we'll win, absolutely. And then when they lose, they go, oh, sorry, we lost, pay me. They're not supposed to do that, but they could. Let me see if there's anything else in here that I missed. I don't see anything else. Okay, let's go on down the line here. We did Hooper. That's it. Do you guys have any other questions, or maybe something that's not clear? Well, while you guys are thinking about it, here's what's happening next week. On the 20th, we have the Okmulgee debates, the Okmulgee District National Council candidate debates. That's going to be at 6 p.m. You guys can tune in. You can ask questions. The two candidates are going to be Speaker Will Lowe, he's the incumbent, and Robin Whitecloud. Now, Mr. Lowe didn't do a candidate video, so what I'm going to, and I've still got to talk to the editor and everybody, make sure this is okay, but what I want to do is dedicate the first 10 minutes or something to doing like a mini candidate thing for him, where you guys can ask just him questions, because Robin did hers. Robin's already done her 30 minutes. Everybody asked all the questions they wanted of Robin, but nobody's had a chance to ask Mr. Lowe any questions yet. So I want to try to carve out some time. I'd like to do an hour for that debate. If you guys have questions, right, for that debate, put them in the comments of this video. You can pretty much put them in the comments of any video, and then we'll try to get them asked. You could put them on our Facebook page. Just put, I'd like to ask this candidate X question, in case you can't tune in. If you tune in, you can put them in the chat. What else is going on next week? I think that's it, guys. So what's up with the Council Oak ceremony? Has a date been set yet? I have not heard. I need to get in touch with Raylyn Butler over in Cultural Preservation, because I was told, I've talked to the, there's an organization, we did a story with Chris McCabe, a live wire a while back. They're trying to refurbish the Council Oak Park, and he set up this commission, and then they wanted to populate it with natives so they could get the right viewpoints on there. And I've been told by him that Raylyn Butler's been put on that committee. So I need to get in touch with her, and I could probably get an update on that. Killers of the Flower Moon premieres. Yes, it does. And I think they're going to have that also at the Circle Cinema too, and they're going to have a panel on it. So you might go check out Circle Cinema. And if you guys have never been to Circle Cinema, it's pretty cool. You should go check it out. It has some cool historical stuff in there, and it's not it's not like a big multiplex theater either. It's kind of an old school theater. So go check those guys out. With that being said, we've done about 30 minutes. I've covered all my topics here. If you guys have any other legal questions or anything, just pop them, make a comment on this video, and we'll try to take a look at them. I know, T.Y. Pearl, you were asking earlier about DeMario's case against his former law firm. It's kind of off the beaten path, and, honestly, if I was going to go look into all the shady stuff that every lawyer that is in any of these cases that we've talked about has done, we'd never get any Creek Nation stuff covered, because I'd have to do about 6 or 7 hours of every lawyer. They've all got, they're lawyers. They've all got some type of skeletons in their closet. So, but I understand, and you guys can go check out DeMario if you want to see anything. There's a lot of coverage of that case too. So, but that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have another Lawyered Up coming up at the start of November, middle of November. Some of this stuff, we should get some developments. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Mado.